Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Matt Fishman. Matt Fishman, how the hell are you?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
Oh, good. And then if people want to see you in New York City do stand-up comedy, I think you were here last night at QED Astoria, weren't you?
That's right. I was on a very great show called Shame, run by two great comics named Ron
It's
and
called
Reganella.
Shame?
Shame.
And are you talking about shameful experiences?
No, originally I think that was the theme of the show, and
Right.
they just kind of ditched that. To just
Oh, okay.
we just call it Shame. Ron
Yeah.
Reganella, Brendan Busey, two very funny guys, ran it, and packed room. Couldn't miss, which I love. I do this when I don't like to compliment myself. I'm like, it was just a can't miss room. Like entering a cheat code in a video game. And,
Yeah, you were not funny at all. It was
yeah.
just the crowd was warm. The crowd was hot. The room was hot.
Yeah, hot rice go like airplane peanuts in the laugh. Like, wow, that was simple.
But it could just be that the other comics, every comic on there was firing on all cylinders.
It was a very good lineup. I was the weakest link. I don't like myself. Very low self-esteem.
And then are you always doing the Shame show, or is there other, what are the other shows you're regularly doing, or what are some shows coming up where we can see in New York City?
I don't regularly do Shame, although that was like the third or fourth time I've done it in the past 2 or 3 years.
Oh, cool.
The show I'm usually on is my show, Laughter Hours, which I co-produce, co-host with two other comics, Bob Hansen, Suzanne Leah Shepherd. Very funny.
Laughter Hour.
Yeah, that's a put on After Hours.
Oh, yeah.
Hours.
Yeah, so where is that?
This is here. It's the late Saturday show
Oh.
here, because I don't live too far from
Oh, cool.
this location. I'm like a 20-minute walk.
Oh, good.
Took the train today because it's cold. And once every 3 weeks we rotate, so I don't have to host it. It's the late Saturday show, and that'd be kind of annoying if I had to be here every Saturday night. I want to do things with my girlfriend and my friends sometimes. So once every 3 weeks I'm the host, and I produce that week, and that's where I'm usually at. And I host the one next week is my next time up, and it's been very good lately.
So it's a week from today?
Week from today.
Okay.
That's right. A week from today, I host. It's going to be a good one. I'm really excited because it's been really good, again, for that. Good crowds. Cold weather, I tell you.
Yeah.
Great for comedy. Great
Yeah.
for, everyone wants to be inside.
That's just so funny you're in a story, but I still took the train. That's fucking hilarious.
It was just too cold.
And what are some of the things you're kind of talking about in your act? When you get up at Laughter Hour, when you get up at Shame, what can we expect from a Matt Fishman show?
Oh, my dad. He's like, thank
really?
God for him. I mine him for comedy.
I love that.
He has to. He keeps, I'd say recently, the most recent thing I added, I was on the phone with him, and he goes, Rudy Giuliani is a piece of trash. And I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. And he goes, no, I'm not. I'm 100% right. I'm like, that's the same. Why do you have to argue with me? And so I kind of put that into my act, and now I have a new bit out of it. I changed it. I made it like I was at the Thanksgiving table with him, which wasn't true. But, and it was a whole thing. But I got a bit out of it. And
good.
Even said one time on stage, I just broke it. I said, man, my dad's got to survive. He's almost 70. I'm like, this guy's got to live for 2 more decades because I got to keep using him.
Yeah.
I say he's 25% of my act.
Oh, that's fine. So whenever he calls, you have to pick up the phone, if only to get the material.
Exactly. He even tells me, he's like, you should put this in your act. But half the time he wants to give me jokes that are they're terrible. He's like, they always say the official beer of the NFL. I'm like, yeah. He's like, what's that about? Who's that? I'm like, that's not even. That's just a sort of a witty observation. But yeah, it's because they have a deal with the NFL. That's how it works.
I will now make fun of the fact that you think that's a joke.
I know. I said, don't you understand? You're not giving me the jokes, Dad. You are the joke.
I love that. Now, growing up, was he also as priceless for mining material?
Yeah.
So, growing up, what were some of the funny things you did?
Well, the one he loves the movie Rush Hour 2. This is actually this is the bit that I end everything with. I've been Jim Gaffigan's famous bit is Hot Pockets that he does all the time.
Right.
Mine's Rush Hour.
Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour 2. He loves it. He thinks, and he always quotes the outtake. He's not going to be in Rush Hour 3, and he loves that. And I got a long bit, but since that was 2001 that came out, so that happened when I was a kid. Yeah, and when I was even younger, he collects comic books.
Okay.
He's a huge comic book collection. I think he has every Conan the Barbarian ever made.
Oh my gosh.
He even went to the New York Public Library and photocopied the Sunday Comics Conan. I guess he had a little Sunday comic Conan the Barbarian to get those. And he likes that art. But those comics are kind of dark. There's a lot of nudity.
So, is that why he likes them?
I think so. So in my house, in the basement of my house, there's a lot of posters framed of like these barbarians with these naked women just hanging on to their ankles. And
Oh my
I grew
gosh.
up in that, and he let me read a lot of comics that he brought home, and he forgot to put away the adult comic, not adult, but he likes the artwork, quote unquote, I guess. And I read some stuff, and as a kid, that could really screw you up.
Yeah.
It was really. I saw a woman having sex with a robot.
Oh
It
my
was called
gosh.
Heavy Metal. It was a magazine.
Yeah.
And it was like they had some, and that was weird because I didn't know. Not like a robot, like these sex robots you see these days, like a robot, like Bender. You look like Bender from Futurama having sex with a woman.
Oh my gosh. And so did that kind of fuck you up at all as far as sex?
Yes, I
kind
think so.
Oh wow.
I watch hentai sometimes now.
Yeah.
It screwed me up. It was really disturbing, and I really I don't think he knew it would be disturbing. I don't think he knew that he accidentally showed it to me because he just gave me a pile that he took. He's like, yeah, read whatever, and it really did. It was freaky. You don't like to see that. There's a certain age that you shouldn't be exposed to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't at the age.
That's so funny. Like it's got good artwork. It's like reading Playboy for the articles.
Yeah, it's the artwork, and I'll be honest, it is good art. Like I'm not
Yeah.
knocking the artists;
Right.
they have talent. I don't know what made them go down that path with the nudity, but the guy he loves this guy named Frank Frazetta, who I think I don't think he's alive. I think he passed away, but he was known for just these beautiful paintings of like fantasy. He had like a guy called Death Dealer or something. It was like this art dude with a scythe, and but always just the token naked chick. Yeah, you're like it was good. Did you have to throw in the boobs?
Yeah, yeah. There was a young adult series growing up called Wingman,
Okay.
and I think I read an article or an interview with the author, and he said something like, "Wingman has to lay pipe 5 times in one book. That's the rule."
That's
I'm
the
like,
rule?
that's so fucking from your editor. It's like, nah, man, this was 4. I'm not count the blowjob as anything, man. That's 4. We need another one. It's just like growing up, so just piles of cocaine. And you're like, why am I reading this?
There's a comic called Wing. It's a comic book.
Well, no, it's a young adult series, so it's
okay,
like
okay.
paperback books, and I'm like, why am I allowed to even read this shit?
Yeah.
But now it's so much worse, just with porn everywhere, and just kind of like, so growing up, like he liked comic books, and so you kind of like comic books now too, I would think.
Yeah, not as much as he. I don't collect them like he does, but
Okay.
I do enjoy comics. Yeah.
And so how do you have a take on all the I'm inundated with these comic book hero movies.
Yeah.
Are they good? Is there certain ones that I have to see?
I really do think the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it's excellent. I mean, there's
It's
some movies.
uniformly excellent.
No, not uniformly.
Yeah.
There's some weaker movies. Like Thor: The Dark World is a pointless movie. I watched that. I'm like, that was just. It wasn't bad. It was just inessential.
Yeah.
But it didn't do anything narratively. I'm just very impressed that they were able to just connect the movies. And yeah, it's easy to do. Just have a post-credit scene where they're like, and this guy is coming up. But to me, as a comic, like, awesome. But I think the new Spider-Man movies, I think they're phenomenal. I bought them. I never buy movies. I have them on digital download, the Homecoming and Far From Home. I just enjoy because it's funny. It's done in a very lighthearted way, and he's the new Spider-Man and Tom Holland. He does it in a Michael J. Fox. He reminds me of Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future.
Yeah, Tom Holland. Sure.
Yeah, and he's kind of like, oh wow, I got this, and he kind of has that charm about him.
Yeah,
it's just fun to watch him, and they just changed He's like from a very his school is very multi-ethnic. Like his bully Flash is now, I think the actor's Pakistani. I could be wrong. I feel terrible if I'm wrong, but he's not a bully in the jock sense. He's just a lesser rival to him.
Yeah.
Like, even though he's a rich jerk and no one likes him. He has no friends. No one likes Flash. But he's still like Parker's bully, and he gets no respect, and it's just done in a very funny way that I enjoy. And I totally think I don't like the DC movies. I think they're terrible. They're just not.
Yeah, there's a camp. There's right. If you like one, you don't like the other one.
It's just the way it's. They always have, a lot of these movies have a filter,
Okay.
like that Superman Batman movie. It's all shot through a blue or gold filter, and I hate movies that do that. There was a movie that was very egregious. Actually, no, a series. You know the series Ozark on Netflix?
Yeah.
You saw it, right?
Oh yeah, I saw some of it. Yeah, that was filter.
I'm gonna ruin it for you. It's all blue.
Oh, okay.
The series is blue most of the time. But that's why they have a red-headed daughter. I think the daughter's blonde or redhead, or the wife is also. And
Yeah,
they
that daughter
really
is something.
try
Right?
to forcefully contrast their hair to the blue background.
Oh.
It's they do it, and I hate it. I find it so distracting to the point my girlfriend never noticed. She noticed. It's like, I can't watch this. Everything's just blue. They're wearing blue clothes.
Yeah, I was talking about this with so Brandon Collins is another comic, and he covers movies and Medium Popcorn podcast, like it's all movies, and so we were talking about that, and I was saying that I like to filter in, like I see it in things like The Insider by Michael Mann or Traffic by Soderbergh,
Yes.
and he was saying, well, you might like natural light and cinematography, but also the filters, like he didn't like the filters because he went to film school. It's like it's just a device that film school students use.
Like if you're in Mexico, it's orange.
Yeah. So it was blue half the movie and orange the rest rest of the movie.
Yes.
Now, I actually thought that was cool, but he was like, "Well, it can be distracting if you focus on it." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's the problem. I'm not focusing on it at all."
Yeah, you're enjoying yourself
Yeah,
like a
just,
normal
it's
human.
well, it's a great movie, but just like if it were to distract you, in addition to being a subpar superhero movie, I could see you just being annoyed to shit. Now, if you were to like, what's your superpower as a comic?
A superpower, God.
Like, what superpower would you have in real life, and what superpower do you possess on stage that maybe certain other comics don't? Like, is it energy? Is it perspective? Is it insight?
It's tough to brag about myself like that because I have incredibly low self-esteem.
Okay.
But,
If somebody else were to
somebody
say,
told me
yeah,
somebody
there you go.
told me that I have a good host energy because apparently I have a it was a comment. I have a assistant superintendent energy on stage where I'm able to command attention of the room somehow just innately. Like I used to host a mic here for 2 years.
Oh, cool.
And a late one. And mics can be, because all comics can be read. And they're like, somehow a comic was like, you're able to get the energy up, which is very difficult for comics because you you want to be there. So I kind of make it wherever I am. I make it like I really want to be there, I guess.
Okay.
And I guess I have a way of just demanding, not demanding, but grabbing attention so all eyes are on me.
Yeah, it's like a commanding voice.
The voice helps.
But then through that, you're just doing hilarious stories about your dad and things like that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
is there anybody else in your family that's that much of a character? I mean, are you getting it from a mom or
It's
a
funny,
sister or a brother?
I joked yesterday. I never did it. It's hard to joke about my mom because I'm very much a mama's boy. I love my mom.
She's not in
I love my mama.
any
No.
jokes, right?
Yeah, no, she's in a joke where she bought me a sweatshirt that was really bad. It was a design your own sweatshirt kiosk at the mall, and she chose it was just a basketball. It said basketball, and I got made fun of. And that was really about it. Because my mom is a very liberal woman. She loves what I do. My dad's very liberal too. She loves Howard Stern, so I try to do jokes about that. And it went
cool.
meh. The joke was she's turning 69 next year, and she's so happy because she could finally. I'm 69. And it did just like okay.
Right.
But then I'm like, there's really not much to. She gets mad because she's like, why you always talk about your dad on stage? I'm like, because you're a normal. Mom, you're my mom. You're my mom. Huh? I mean, I'll try to do more. I try to make fun of my nephew. He's 5. Those jokes didn't really go anywhere. My sister's normal. She's smarter than me. She married into a very good family. She married into a family of geniuses. Like they're lawyers and professors. And my nephew's already like smarter than me. He's 5.
So there's nothing funny about that,
Yeah.
unless you then kind of take the piss out of yourself. Like if you're contrasting things that the nephew did at his age and things you were also doing at that age, and
Yeah.
so why one of them is in Mensa and why one of them is now a
Exactly.
comic or whatever.
It's like this. He's going play. I tried to do a joke where my nephew outsmarted me, and I was like, "Fuck you." I can't remember what it was, but he was like, "I think he talked about Muppets," and I'm like, "I love the Muppets." He's like, "You know nothing of the Muppets," and I was like, "Jesus Christ, you little shit!" I'm like, get out of here. I'm not going to hold your hand when you cross the street.
And then if you were to have a superpower as a person, like, I mean, you must know all of them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and then what would it be, and what's the thing that you'd be fine with being shit at? Some of these superheroes aren't, like one guy's blind or whatever. Like, don't they always have kind of one strategic
There's always
weakness?
one weakness, which I love.
So what's your weakness and what would be your strength?
Well, if I had to have a superpower, talking like that, Magneto.
Okay.
Because that dude could fly. That's the primal energy of Earth's magnetic field. It's actually incredibly powerful. They don't really talk about he could fly and stop bullets and kind of just do anything.
Which is kind of unfair because you're like, that's more than one superpower.
Yeah.
It's nice that you unified it via the Earth's core.
Controlling that one thing gives you all of that. So it's kind of like asking the genie for more wishes.
Yeah,
And,
that's a cheat.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a cheat. And does he have a weakness? Does he wear a suit when he does that? Like, and if he
has
takes
to-
off the suit?
He's weak to mental. That's why he wears the helmet.
There
Psychic
you go.
attacks can harm him. If he doesn't have it, he'll, like any other person, a psychic attack can hurt him.
Right.
And it was a really bad, the Fantastic Four 1960s series. He was in one episode. It was like, oh, Magneto. Of course, it was like, oh, I can control metal. At the end, they put a gun at him, and he's like, I can't control the gun. I surrender. And he's like, that's where you got it wrong, Magneto. This gun is made of wood. He's like, too bad. I'm going to jail. I'm like, wow, that was easy.
Wow.
A fake wooden gun that didn't fire scared him into surrendering.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
he could still fire an electromagnetic blast at his face.
Right. Yeah, that must have been disappointing as a Magneto fan that he just got. So it's like, why is he on here?
Yeah.
Why is he making a comedy on this shit show if you're not going to do
in
him
the
justice?
60s, I'm sure they were like, hey, there's nothing else to watch. This is great.
Yeah. And have you had any interest in kind of doing, do you do any like digital shorts or like, films that would play on the whole superhero angle? Because everybody's so interested. I would think it would do well.
I once wrote, I wrote an idea for a superhero, and I was more interested in the villains he would face when I was younger. And when I was older, I was like, oh, I have good ideas. For instance, there would be another superhero called Freedom Rider. I swear to God, I really wrote this. And it was basically that when Freedom Rider and years ago had two sidekicks, Freedom Boy and Freedom Girl. My idea was that years later, Freedom Boy and Freedom Girl no longer are sidekicks. They're older and they hate each other. One becomes an extreme right-wing terrorist. The other becomes an extreme left-wing terrorist.
Oh, I love that.
Right? So Freedom Boy becomes sovereign citizen. And he's a right-wing guy. All these guns. He's kind of like Punisher.
Yeah.
While Freedom Girl becomes Bleeding Heart. And that's her name. And she's like a liberal terrorist, like, eco-terrorist and killing people and killing, like, corporations and stuff. And Freedom Rider is brokenhearted because his two former sidekicks are at war. And
So I think that would do well because it's kind of a play on the current, PC wars and
Really?
social
Yeah.
justice warriors and things like that.
I thought of that like years later. And I'm like, that would be a really good idea. And the main character of the comic, his name was the Blur, and he was just a really good, like kind of like Daredevil in the way he fights. And it's supposed to be like he was called that because the newspapers were like, when we quoted the thugs, they went, "We don't know what happened. It was all just a blur." And everyone's like, "Who is the Blur?"
I love that.
That was my idea. I was like a high school, I guess, when I thought of the Blur.
And it's like, I almost think you could try to bring it on stage. I mean, it might be hard to shoot, superhero things. I would think, special effects might be a little bit more difficult. But doing it on stage, like, is there any way to caricature, people on the right and the left in a way that could be fun?
There is a way. I wouldn't say it's my strong suit.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. Whenever I go, I don't know why. When I go to these mics, when a comic starts doing political stuff, I just see the comics kind of recoiling.
Yeah.
I think because they've just heard it all. It's very hard to make an original take in this.
Yeah.
And also, we're at the point with this presidency, it's beyond satire.
Yeah.
I'm a humongous fan of Grand Theft Auto. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
And I believe they quoted someone, one of the head writers. And like, if you do another one, because Grand Theft Auto is very much a satirical world, making fun of America.
Okay.
People who write it are British, Scottish, British, one of those, not Europe. And they say we don't know if we could do another one that takes place in the present day because America's beyond satire now.
Yeah.
Their world is satire. The things that we like pretend is actually happening. Like
Yeah.
the president going like, "You're a dumb fuck," and it's like, this is real.
Yeah.
And so I find that pretty. So it's very hard to do political these days. That doesn't sound already like Stephen Colbert does it every night.
Yeah.
Talking about that political jokes. You have the Daily Show. You have this. You have that. And so if I was ever on stage to do something like that, I don't know. That would be really. It's good. It's a good idea though.
You could do it through superheroes.
Superheroes.
But what's funny is I almost think I saw an article that the Grand Theft Auto creator just got arrested for fraud. And
Oh, God.
But I don't. There's probably more than one creator. It would just be so funny. It's
Was
like,
it-
not only can I not create another one, but I got arrested for fraud.
Oh man.
And it could have been because he was like, I'm satirizing the current culture, who's currently in power, so we're going to find that fraudulent thing you did 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But if we want to find you online and like if they're not so lucky to be in New York City area, do they go to @MattFishman or are you mattfishman.com?
On Instagram, I'm at Matt Fishman is okay.
OKAY or just okay?
Just okay.
Okay.
The two letters. And I'm on Twitter at Matt Fishman. Somehow I got that. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's a lot. Believe it or not, there's a lot of Matt Fishmans out there.
Yeah, I
I
would
Googled
think
my
so.
name and I'm like, wow, there's a ton of us. And
And is there anybody in comedy is there anybody of importance? Is there another important Matt Fishman or not really? Are you the Matt Fishman?
I
Would
think-
your name come up first in my Google search?
I think. Oh, Google search no. I think
Okay.
there was a Matt Fishman. I believe he was the guy who always beat me. He was at the time a sports director for XM Sirius. And Matt Fishman. I'm like you.
Yeah.
And
But also, he's not funny. He doesn't command a room, and he doesn't have a father like yours.
doesn't have a father like mine. I don't think anyone will.
And then, so you have the laughter hours coming up
That's right.
a week from today, which
Week
is
from today.
Saturday.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
After hours, and it's a great show. And if you're in a community-free show, 11 p.m. the late show, it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy doing it. I actually had a podcast. We're going back into it.
Okay.
We took a hiatus for no reason. We were just lazy.
And what's it about? Is it about like superhero stuff?
No, I
or-
think so. It's actually a really good idea. It's not about drugs, even though it sounds like it. It's called microdosing,
Oh, okay.
right? But what it is, we have a cup in the middle of the table. We had friends just write random topics on it.
Oh, cool.
And for 2 or 3 minutes, we just talk about the topics, move on to the next one.
Oh, cool.
For about an hour. It ends up being incredibly fun. When the times just fly, and
It's you and a couple other comics?
it's me. It's my other host is Paul Dagliolo,
Okay.
comic, great guy. And sometimes we have a guest. And those tend to be the best ones when we have a guest because it's always a comic who's of greater comic talent than me.
But
Paul's
it's so,
great.
but it's so cool that we can the normal person submit an idea to you, or are you just
course.
getting it through like somebody could submit something
They
through
could submit
social?
it. That's
Okay.
actually that's a good idea. No,
Yeah.
they could submit. It was like Paul's the one who tells people to submit, and he gets them from his friends.
Oh, cool.
The only downside is people don't know if someone wrote something else before. So a lot of times
Yeah.
we look and we're like, already been done.
Yeah.
We did it. We
Right.
did it. And then I find myself always like going back to stories that I've told before.
Oh,
because
okay.
but it's a lot of fun.
And so that's microdosing, and they can find that anywhere podcasts are heard.
You can find that on SoundCloud.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And then Matt Fishman, if I want to see Laughter Hours, who else is going to be on the show this week?
This week we're going to have...
I'm going to put you on the spot.
You're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
This week we're having... I can actually have Laura Murley. She's a fantastic comic.
Sure.
She's very funny. I actually have it right here.
I think I follow her on Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got that. Laura Murley. We got Phil Parker.
Okay.
Who's a very funny guy. Danny Stratton, who's a great guy. And I'm trying to get my phone out, and it's like being very unresponsive. Okay, hold on. I'm almost there. I got it. I got the...
Yeah, we're downstairs in a basement in a soundproof room.
In a
I wonder if
soundproof
Magneto
room.
would be
I'm
proud of
having
the
just
signals that
trouble.
are not coming in.
I'm
yeah.
going to get it because I have it right here. I'm so sorry for being annoying about this.
Oh, that's right.
You know what? Maybe I don't have it. Who cares?
But regardless, the person we care about is Matt Fishman, because you're also doing a spot? Or are you hosting?
I host.
Yeah.
I'm the host, so I do 10 minutes up top.
Oh, cool.
And I think I have it right here, the people who are on. I'm sorry for being annoying.
That's right. Lauren.
I have the... Gene Getman is his name, is the other guy. And who could I forget? Oh, of course, Austin Locke.
Oh, okay.
Who I've been trying to get on for a while. He's pretty popular. He does... they're all great.
Okay.
So Austin's like this is the third time I think I finally got Austin.
Oh, dude, it's a good get, and we can't wait to see Matt Fishman at Laughter Hours, QED, Saturday Late Show.
Oh, yeah.
Totally free?
Totally free. I mean, they like if you buy something.
Oh, okay.
But it's late show. Everyone has a little bit of booze in them.
And just like last night's Shame show, it should be a good hot room.
Hot room.
Where everything you say is just fucking hilarious.
Can't miss.
But it's not him being funny, right? It's just a hot room.
The hot room. No, medium talent. The room, fantastic.
Okay, well, come out for that. Thank you so much, Matt Fishman.
Thank you so much for having me.